Graham, Washington. Definitely like more out in the country. I've been teaching the Holocaust this is my 13th year.
I read Night by L.A.D. South. It makes every problem I've gone through seem so small compared to his,
Some don't know anything about the Holocaust, and we go the most in-depth in 8th grade. After kids have learned about the Holocaust, you definitely see a difference in empathy for others.
And I'm just a teenage girl in Graham, Washington, but I think everyone can help each other.
You do see a change as far as the way they look at the world, the way they're able to relate what's going on today with what has happened in the past.
Last year in 7th grade, I was in my language arts and social studies class. I was just doodling in my journal, and a kid reached over, one of my peers, one of my friends, reached over and drew a swastika in my journal. And I went to the teacher, I was like, this is like not okay, what's going on? And she said, I don't know how to handle this. And that really had an impact on me. That inspired me to search for a way to educate myself more and educate others.
Okay, well, now we should go ahead and get started.
On the first day of being on the leadership board, we did an exercise where we got a replica of one of the items in the exhibit. My item was a pamphlet for the Boy Scouts. It just kind of really made me realize that the people in the Holocaust were normal people and they had normal everyday lives. I entered the writing and art contest because I'm an artist and I wanted to make it clear that no matter who people are or what they believe, everybody has a voice. Right now, there are a lot of people who are worried about what's happening in the world, whether it's refugees or other groups of people who need to know that they're supported and that there are people who care for them in the world.
My school, I like to think, has some of the best education possible, and we're still not learning about the Holocaust. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what about the schools that don't even have the money to pay for books? And the Holocaust Center can do that. We can provide the books and provide the education for all schools everywhere. We came up with the idea of Teen Night for a group project because we really want to focus in on getting teens here.
My group for Teen Night helped make boxes to send to refugees with just the basic necessities of everyday life, like a toothbrush and a washcloth, just to help them get through each day. I think that my painting really resonated with people because the world right now is very different than it was a couple years ago, and people want to take action. This is something I learned from Ilana and Julia and other speakers from the Student Leadership Board, that teenagers and people like me can make a difference in the world and that we have a voice too, and it matters.
And I have gotten an entire unit dedicated to this part of our history, and it's incredible how this one little thing has made such a huge impact on 300 kids in my school. My generation is going to be the one that makes a difference.
Most of us join the Air Force because we want to make a difference in the world. I think that having this Holocaust remembrance event, it's a testament to the fact that I am a part of something greater than myself. I was very inspired by Carla's story. She was very young when she joined the Dutch resistance. She just did it without a question.
I was born and raised in Amsterdam. The official newspapers from the Nazi government was only news from the Nazis. we typed out usually one sheet, passed them out, and of course it was a rather dangerous business to do that.
When I met Carla, I realized that this was real for her. This was her existence.
We heard through the underground.
It was really amazing for me to hear Carla speak to us today. Carla was very courageous during the Holocaust by helping save people's lives, but she is also very courageous now. I know that it hurts her, and she doesn't want to have to remember what she went through in the Holocaust. She really wants to help us understand what we can do to respect others and to prevent injustice.
I keep going back to the word empathy. What is it like when everyone around you, every third person is like taken away? The power of our Holocaust unit is that it connects to every kid. It doesn't matter if they're my brightest, hardest working student to my kid who struggles just to do school. Our kids are kinder to each other afterwards.
I first came across the teaching trunk when I attended the Washington Library Conference. At that time, our budgets were very low, and so I figured if we can afford it one of these years, we'll get it. And then, of course, she told me it was free. So when I got back to school, I couldn't wait to see Pia.
I immediately ordered the teaching trunk for that year, and then every year since then.
The message behind my painting is that I can make a difference. I can prevent the darkness, even just as an individual.
Holocaust education is important so that people realize what we did to other people. People that deny the Holocaust don't want to accept that reality.
Do you believe that the risk of being in the resistance was worth the reward for being in it?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, it's so interesting. People ask me why I did it. Well, the only answer I can say, I could help and I helped.
There's injustice in our school. There's people who get bullied. There's people who get picked on. And so even if it's a small act, if I can do something to prevent injustice, it will make a difference in the world.
Carla and the other survivors who are telling their stories are encouraging us to get out there and walk the walk every day.
My name is Jack Shalom, and I'm going to tell my mom's story with my mother. I've told my mom's story probably 10 to 12 times. So the last time my mother saw her father was when she was on the train about to be deported.
I hugged my mother and I kissed her and I said, "Mom, I'll see you later." But of course, I have never seen my mother again. When we came to the United States, the American Jewish people said, "Forget what happened. Now you're going to start a new life."
My parents had many family friends who were Holocaust survivors. And we're all like family to each other because we all grew up with no other relatives because they've all been murdered.
I heard about the Holocaust Center through a colleague who had borrowed some of the educational materials. I always want to make learning engaging, and I know the more students can get out and be a part of an experience, the more powerful it will be for them. I could not believe it when I found out we could get funding for this field trip. Our school qualified and the center made this opportunity possible. The education they got from the Holocaust Center was phenomenal and powerful.
When I was at the Holocaust Center, one of the items that resonated with me was the bowl, Magda's bowl.
I have an aluminum bowl, which a girl gave me.
It made me think of what we in present day take for granted. For Magda, the bowl was her lifeline, and if she didn't have that, she would have starved. When Jack spoke to my class today, it showed how important he believed it was for people to hear the story of Magda and other Holocaust survivors so we can make sure that the Holocaust doesn't happen again.
The teachers do a tremendous job in explaining exactly what happened, why it happened, and the evil that was happening. And I think a lot of kids are taking that in and seeing that this is something that you thought would go away, and it hasn't.
Saturday's violence in Charlottesville has put the spotlight on hate groups that have...
I'm here because our values are number one, standing up for local white identity. Number two, the free market. And number three, killing Jews.
And maybe, just maybe, they can help stop this. And she would tell me the story one time. And
when Jack really authentically shared his mother's story of being separated from her mother, I could feel in the room the students processing that, and I think they got it.
Thank you very much for listening to our story.
I've seen them and heard them go places that I don't think they would have gone if we hadn't had this experience.
My mom passed away on June 9th of 2015. And the day before she passed, I did a speech at a junior high school. And as I was done with that speech, I drove directly over to the hospital, and she was lying in her bed. And I said, "Mom, I told your story." And they were very moved by it, and they asked very important questions. And I'm going to keep doing this. And she looked at me, she gave me a thumbs up, and she said this. And I'll never forget that. That meant just keep going, keep doing it. And I plan to.